Hey, I already got a thumbs up. That is a great sign. Hello, hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, but not just any Tuesday. It's a special Tuesday because we are the Melanated Council. And yes, I say we, even though currently it's just me, but there are, you know, more people who are going to join us. So as of right now, it is just me and Chad here. Hey, Chad. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. How's it going? How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. And like I said, we stream every other Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and wherever you're at in the world, and it is streaming, that is when we stream. And as always, please like, subscribe, share, and enjoy the show. We love it when y'all do that because it is valid proof that you actually enjoy us. I mean, words and comments only go so far, am I right? I'm kidding. Kind of. So if you're new to the show, we usually like to kind of just talk about what's been going on in our lives and things like that before we get straight into the topic. As you can see, our topic tonight is hyphen phobias. Because it's October, it's like spooky season. Our theme for this month was scary things. Like 2 weeks ago, we talked about like what are we actually afraid of. Like we're adults now, so we're not really we don't really care so much about monsters under the bed. Some of us may be afraid of spiders still, but we're probably grown enough to kill spiders. We might be freaking out while we do so, but we'll kill the spider. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about like things that we were actually legitimately afraid of. Whether it's like where society's heading to, climate change, what are we going to be actually learning in school and things like that. So today we're going to be talking about like phobias. And we could talk about any sort of phobias. I wanted to kind of I know, like I didn't put the hyphen in quotations, I guess to fill in whatever you want. Cuz it's like, there's like homophobia, transphobia, like agoraphobia, claustrophobia, which are actually the opposites of the two. Agoraphobia is afraid of the outside, wanting to stay inside. Claustrophobia is a fear of tight-knit spaces. So, yeah, like anything that we're a phobia of. But I did want to personally just talk about, like homophobia and transphobia and those kinds of phobias because they're usually spoken in the context of when people are usually talking about like racism, sexism, and then they say like homophobia. And it's not like an ism, so it could be kind of confusing. So, yeah, I did want to delve into that when we get into the topic. But so right now, something that's less phobic, trying to think about like what I've been, kind of getting myself into as of late. Let me think. 'Cause there's been quite a few things. Like good news on the shoulder front. If for those of you who don't know, I dislocated my shoulder 5 months ago now. Jeez. Yeah, it was like end of May. So it's end of October now, which is terrifying because I just felt like this month flew by. And, tomorrow it's going to be like New Year's Eve. So, yeah, good news there with the shoulder. Still not 100%, but I'm getting there. I'd say hopefully by the end of the year, I should be hopefully back to normal. And it just feels like it's just been such a long year, but I guess in retrospect, it's only been 5 months. That's a long time. Yeah. So I've been taking like these online classes because I accidentally signed up for 2 of them. It was kind of my bad. Like I clicked enroll thinking that it will just go to the next part where you sign up and do things. But when you clicked enroll, you just enrolled in the course. Christmas themed episode tomorrow, pretty much. I mean, Christmas is literally right around the corner. Like we gotta start planning out holiday crap from now. Jeez, and like holiday traveling too. Yes, exactly. The hate phobias. Yeah, that's definitely what I want to talk about today, and what we're going to be talking about today for sure. But yeah, so I've been learning SQL. That's one class, and then I've been learning web programming, which is another class. Web programming has been so far a little easy for me because that's kind of what I do. I'm just not too well versed in, like using GitHub and like Python. And we're going to be learning about Django, which I can't remember what it is. It's like a framework, I think. I can't remember. But I'm going to be learning about Django. It's like a self-paced course. I just try to do it once a week. SQL is like I guess a language. Yeah, I think that's what the L stands for. It's like structured query language. I think that's what SQL stands for, SQL. And I've been learning, like that's been more difficult for me because, I was watching the courses and, listening and things like that. And then they came to the part for homework. And first of all, they give you a lot of homework. I'm like, this is a lot. Like they give you, it's like 3 pages, like 3 separate like web pages. And it's like one page has 3 questions. And then another page has like, I don't even know what it is. Like I'm having trouble even understanding or reading it. And I was doing the first page, right? And I did the first question. I was doing all the questions, and I was like, oh, okay, I actually know more than I thought. And I'm doing it, and like, I think I'm getting the hang of it. I'm getting answers, so I'm writing, the SQL like stuff correctly, at least correctly enough for me to get a result. And there's a way to check. There's a way to check your answers, not necessarily submit them, but you could just check to see. I was like, okay, let me check. And I got the first question right, and I got the second and third ones wrong. And it doesn't really tell you what exactly you got wrong. It just says you got it wrong. So I'm like, okay, weird. And then I tried something else. Still got it wrong. Then I tried something else and still got it wrong. And I have like this weird habit of, like, I love troubleshooting. I know that sounds weird, but I guess I'm in, the right, like, profession. Because I love just the whole going back and forth. Like, I could literally do that for just hours, just going back and forth, trying things, checking and trying. Like, I'm an email developer by trade. And, like, there's a program called Litmus. Like, there's Litmus. There's also Email and Acid. These are, like, programs that companies use to check the emails to see if they're going to be displaying correctly on, like, Outlook, Windows 2013, Outlook Mac 2018, Outlook Windows dark mode, AOL, Yahoo, Gmail, you're on your cell phone, Apple like Android version 8, Gmail, like all these different variations of emails, like just to see if your email's displaying correctly. So I can, like, if something's not displaying correctly, I would literally just constantly go back and forth, changing some code, running it again, seeing if it works, changing. Not, it's like, no, it doesn't. All right, go back. So I can literally go back and forth. If I wasn't meeting up with my friend, I probably would have just kept going back and forth in that SQL project all, like, my entire Saturday night. So it was a good thing I made plans. Um, and speaking of Saturday night, good thing, the Knowles won. Go Knowles. I was happy to see them. But you know who I am very happy to see, and I know that y'all will be very happy to see too, because there's not a single person on this planet who is not happy to see this man. So, this man is looking very sharp for you all, because not only is he looking sharp, he is incredibly sharp. He is not only a jack of all trades, he is the master of all of them. I could see him laughing in the green room and backstage. Yes, he will. He will parent your kids like his own, and probably be a better parent than those kids' parents, to be quite honest. So, without further ado, let me bring on the one, the only Ron.
Hold on. Hey, yo. This
Hey,
delay is going to kill me. But, hey, what's going on, everybody?
hey, good to see you.
Hey,
Good to see you.
likewise, as you can tell, I'm in a suit. hmm
Yes.
I got a promotion today. Actually, I got it starting last week, Thursday, actually. Got it last week, Thursday. And so I signed the paperwork for it yesterday. And so now
Nice.
I'm a secretary now. So this is my attire. Mhm.
I love the tie.
Thank you. It,
Yes.
it represents my Michigan team that won this past weekend. Go
Hey,
blue!
hey,
Yeah,
our teams won. Both of our
yeah,
teams won.
yes. And so I've been doing a lot of training these past few days. I'm on my cell phone, you guys, and so we're gonna make it work one way or another. We're gonna make it work
Mm,
and doing a lot of training, a lot of troubleshooting. Found out that there's been some stuff that's been happening the last past 2 school years that hasn't gotten done. And we're just now finding out this year. So I'm doing a lot of cleanup work.
mm,
Yeah, yeah, it's
mm.
it's a lot. But also too, um, the the principal, she made it a point for everybody to do like these pass on the positivity boards. And so, yeah, my head is like super small. So let's see if I can do
No,
it
like,
like
yeah, I was wondering if I could.
angles.
Hey,
There
MySpace angle.
you go. So, what was I going to say? So she's been having us do these positivity boards, and I pretty much got the majority of the staff done. I probably have like 4 or 5 more. Ooh, yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Blue Phillies, blue Phillies. I don't know. I'm not a baseball fan. I'm sorry. I don't. I can't get into baseball. What's up, Gil?
Hey.
And so, yeah, I got pretty much the majority. of the staff members um, pretty much pass on the positivity. I got the majority of them done. I probably have like five more I need to get done, and then I'm good. I'm done. I would have completed everybody in my building as far as passing on positivity. Each staff member has like five cards, and once those five cards are gone, you have to go towards another staff member and write something positive.
Okay.
And so I know in our building alone, we have like I don't want to say like we have like four new teachers that came in during the beginning of this school year. And so keeping them encouraged, letting them know that, hey, I know you got a rough job. I know you deal with people's kids. They may not be the best in the whole wide world, but I see the hard work that you're doing. I see the time that you're putting in. Like, I see a lot that you're going on. Even one of the subs who has been there for like the month of October, she was having a rough time. So I sent her a little positivity message telling her, like, hey, keep your head up. You're doing a fantastic job. The kids love you. We love you. We're glad that you're here. And she came back. She said, "Dude, I almost bursted in tears because of
Mm,
the because I didn't know I was doing that good of a job." Like, yeah, like even though me and you may cut up and joke around and everything else, but on a more so serious note, like I do see you trying. I do see that you're trying to make sure that these kids not only have a good time, but they are learning in the midst of their normal homeroom teacher being out. And so, keep up doing the good work, you know.
mhm.
And so have that. I know the current secretary, she's leaving, and so I wrote her a positivity note as well. Again, encouraging her, letting her know that it was a good time being with her. That I'm going to miss her. Going to miss her smile. Going to miss the jokes that we've had, and just pretty much whatever her next steps are after she leaves. Just continue to be herself. Nobody else, just be herself. And so a lot of people, surprisingly, they're like, thank you for this. This was like needed. You're so thoughtful, this, that, and the third. I'm like, I'm just trying to help because I get it. I see you guys on a day-to-day basis. I hear the conversations, and sometimes, you know, you get beat.
Hmm.
And even if I can give you a highlight for the day, just to kind of keep you moving forward, then I'm gonna do it.
Right.
I'm going.
Okay.
So I know tomorrow got to go in, and even then we're in the middle of our conferences this week, so trying to get all the teachers squared away with times, make sure all the parents know when they're supposed to be at their respective times, and pretty much just try to help the principal keep the building afloat. I know Friday, this coming up Friday, taking my taking our oldest son to Olivet College or the University of Olivet. Actually, they got the name change, and they have an open house, and they sent our oldest an invite to go to the open house. And he actually really likes this college. Like, if he had to pick between like two colleges, the top two really would be the University of Michigan and the University of Olivet. Those are
Mhm.
the pretty much as of right now.
Okay.
And so they're both really good schools, both really good programs. We've met. I know the last time we were at University of Olivet, we met with the track coach. We were supposed to meet with the football coach, but the football coach wasn't there at the time. Um, I think there was like one other person that we met there that was pretty much that was going to help him decide whether or not he was going to commit or not. So So again, going to the
Mhm.
open house and seeing, what's up and see whether if this is like the right fit for him. Or we might go to University of Michigan. I don't know. But I also do know because of the fact that he's in football, a lot of other like smaller Division 1 colleges are looking at him as well
Okay.
to pretty much go try out and like be a part of a showcase. and see if you know he could possibly qualify for athletic scholarship for football. So we got that going on. So there's a lot. There's a lot. Oh no, we already made a joke about Bama. We 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 already made a joke about Bama. He was like, "Yeah, I might date my cousin if I go to Alabama." I'm like, "That's foul, but that's funny. That's foul, but that's funny." And so I don't know because and even then I told him, if you want to go on an athletic scholarship, go for it. But the best thing for you to do, go on an academic scholarship. That's going to open up the door whole lot a whole
Mhm.
lot more.
Mhm.
And so, he's buckling down, getting his grades up, doing what he needs to do to make sure his grades are good. The football season ended, which is cool. Bittersweet moment, very much a bittersweet moment. But he's happy for the most part, even though he didn't necessarily play the way how he wanted to play. But the fact of the matter is that he came out and, just had a good time. Just have a good time and everything is good. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's that high. Now, don't get me wrong. Is he good at what he does? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But at the same time, like, he's more so a track runner than a football player. He's more so of a track runner. He's more so of a sprinter. So that's pretty much where he wants to kind of like focus in on. As far as if he does want to go and get a scholarship, it might be more so for track and field than
Mhm.
football. Not to say that he could get a scholarship for both, but his first love really is track and field.
Okay.
Getting kind of heavy.
Hmm?
Might need some assistance.
Well, I mean, you did it.
Well,
He's.
I don't want mom to whine and complain about the water from the faucet, so clearly this thing
I
on.
mean, here's what kind of doing like two things I want you guys. Boom. There you go.
Like
Yeah.
streaming and
Before we do-
helping with the faucet.
Well, because here in our city of Three Rivers,
Mhm.
we have a very bad lead problem. And so the
Kool-Aid's the only option.
water, the water is not drinkable unless you have like some kind of filter
Kool-Aid.
Mhm.
put on your sink
No
to
Kool-Aid.
filter out a lot of the lead and a lot of the other impurities that's in the water. But what we do have is we have these Primo 5-gallon water jugs
Right.
and the
Mhm.
Primo um, container or cooler, whatever this thing is. We got that and we've had it for years.
And Kool-Aid.
Mhm.
And yes, this man's making Kool-Aid.
And Kool-Aid.
He's making Kool-Aid. So
Let me
yeah.
sing. Ooh.
I mean,
Um, true, true, true.
Kool-Aid's the way to go.
And again, like Rocky. You're absolutely correct. Because even then, because we were taught the first time we went to Olivet, and this is before we went to University of Michigan. He was like, we were talking. He was like, yeah. He was like, I can see myself playing football or running track at the University of Olivet, and then once I feel comfortable playing at no, not with the whole jug. No,
5 gallons of
no.
Kool-Aid.
Oh no, that's some monster Kool-Aid.
No, the whole
No,
jug's mine. They're absolutely
no,
right.
no. So the thing is, so just to kind of show you guys, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we're using
Mhm.
for our water. We're using that, and because of the fact, like I said before, the water in our city is very much contaminated because a lot of the pipes that's within the homes, within the streets, they're lead-based pipes.
Mm.
And so with lead-based pipes, over time they get corroded and a lot of that lead gets filtered into our drinking water supply. And so
Mhm.
we have to filter that.
Hey, let me give you the best Kool-Aid ever. I'm telling you.
And so now I gotta be the national thing tester. So I'm drinking Kool-Aid.
Straight gas.
Okay.
It's so good. Yeah. It's so
It's actually good.
oh,
Is it the
tough,
best
man.
Kool-Aid you've ever had? No.
Just a little. But then again, he said that we should have had grape Kool-Aid, but the store didn't have it. So like, you know
No, the
what?
store did have it. Just got
We'll just settle for the pink lemonade.
it. Anyways, y'all going, bro.
Whatever.
Let's forget that that's a
But
flavor.
yeah,
I thought it was only grape and red. Weren't those the only two flavors? Kidding.
oh no. I'm about to say, oh, don't play like that.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Do not. I was gonna question everything I know about you. Like, we can't be starting off like this.
No, I'm kidding.
Mm-mm. So let's see what else. What else is going? What else has been happening? I think that's really been since last week Tuesday. That's really it. That's pretty much the updates that that I can think about. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. That's pretty incredible. Like, it's just crazy to think how your son is going. Is he going to college next year or the year after?
Year after, so he's a junior right now.
Gotcha. Okay, that's
He's a
what I thought.
junior right now, and talking to like other parents who have juniors and seniors are like, yeah, his junior year, you want to make sure he goes to all of the colleges he can, figure out what he wants to do, take the ACT, the SATs, and do his best. And so by the time
Absolutely not.
he says absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
He doesn't have a choice.
I can call him. I'm not taking that as no.
I mean, Rocky, you're not off topic. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Right.
You
Definitely a
know,
phobia. Definitely a fear.
you're not wrong. Sometimes our priorities as a nation is in the wrong place. But again, you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You are not
Go
wrong.
away.
But yeah, they were saying like try to get a lot of the college tours, a lot of the college stuff done junior year, so by the senior year, all I think you have to do is pretty much narrow some stuff down and just go and apply. You know,
Okay.
and even then, because the way how he's been progressing this school year, by the time he's a senior, he's only going to have like a few, like maybe three classes,
Yep, 3 classes.
three classes, and then the rest of the time probably look at doing some CTE and see if he wants to do welding or go in robotics or some other stuff, to fill his time.
This made my stomach hurt, OG. I don't know how I feel about this.
You'll be all right.
I don't know. Just for that change. Let me put y'all on real quick, alright?
You'll be all right.
Put y'all on.
Anyways, yes, infrastructure. I mean, you never know, Chad. You never know.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, if you want to talk about if it's a phobia of yours, okay. I mean, honestly, like what happened in Louisiana, was
Yeah.
it today or yesterday? Like it was like that. I think it was like how many cars? Like 150 cars, like pile up. Yeah, like it was because they had some really dense, terrible fog,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think it was 150 cars. Like 22 people, I think, got injured, and 7 people died. And I'm like, there needs to be a better way to just get from point A to point B. Like I think about it all the time. I was driving to work today, and I'm like everybody goes like 80 on the highway,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm going 80, and I think I'm going pretty fast. Like I'm passing some cars. I'm all the way in the fast lane anyway. and I see this big blue like Ford truck that looks like it was kind of pimped out to let people know that this person hunts and has guns. Like, or at least just has guns. Not sure if they just has guns. And you know, probably backs the blue kind of thing. And I'm just listening to a podcast, just kind of vibing, and then I see it in the rearview mirror, like this big ass blue truck, like gunning it almost towards me. I was like, holy! So I like, I slam on the gas a bit to just go a little bit faster, and then he crosses over to the lane, keeps gunning it, goes in front of me, he's just gunning it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I felt like racing him and just cussing him out, sort of thing. It's like, don't tempt me. I am in a Honda Accord. I have a smaller vehicle. I can get you, but no. And also lately, I gotta get this checked out. But like my hood, whenever I'm going faster than 80, like I see like my hood kind of shaking. So I'm assuming like there's some kind of like air underneath there, or like air is getting underneath there or something. Yeah, lovely. Might just need to be like tightened down or something.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Definitely go to your dealer or mechanic.
Mhm.
See,
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta do
yeah, that
that.
sounds.
Hmm.
That's it. That sounds dangerous.
Yeah. Like, fortunately, it's not shaking like too much, but it's like to the point of like, you know, like
Mm,
it's like I don't think that should be happening, sort of thing. It's like this like it's not like shaking to the point where it's like it looks like it's gonna pop off,
right.
but it's like it's kind of shaking like hmm.
Way too much.
If that pulls up going 80, that is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Chad. I agree.
Yeah, true. Mm, cars, man, they just fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
A little bit duct tape. That's how most cars look like they're put together and held together with duct tape and super glue and a good luck, buddy.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I agree. And that's another thing about freaking having to go to work because the only way to do that is to go on the highway.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. So that's a thing. Yeah, so I should make an appointment with my mechanic sometime this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have them check it out, see what they can do, if they can. Yeah, no, that's fair. Cars that's kind of like sort of the novelty of cars too, because like people like to tinker with them and see what they can do
Mm-hmm.
with them and like soup them up. Like I get it, but it's like at the same time I'm like I can understand having like a hobby car and then having like a reliable safety driver car. Like I get
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, but when it's like your hobby car is your daily driver, I'm like, yeah. It's fun when you're like, you know, late teens, early 20s, when you got a
Yeah.
little bit of money and everything you do, you just put it into your car, and then you realize, why was I investing in my car? But yeah, no, it's true. I should definitely, yeah, make like some kind of appointment. Yeah, I'm not too busy this week. I don't think at work, so I could probably just take some time and be like, "Hey, can you look at this and tell me what the heck?"
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely right.
Oh, thanks, Rocky. Um, we use Ecamm Live, and yeah, it's only for Mac, um, Apple, unfortunately. But yeah, I noticed that too. Like when I was testing, when I did that test stream, I noticed that, especially with YouTube, like it responds very, very quickly,
Hmm.
which is really nice.
Yeah, it's been well trying to set my phone up so or in a way.
You have it set up like you're like on like a blind date, you know?
No, I know. It is sucks. It
No,
sucks.
that's fine. It was just kind of funny. It was like, oh, okay. It's like oh, it's like it's like who's behind door number 3?
Why? Why? Like, oh my gosh! Like, there's no. Promise you, there's nobody behind number three. If there is, let me know because I got to deal with them. I got to deal with them. Mm-hmm. Got to.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Used to be that I'd type a message and it wouldn't show until you guys were on the next topic. Ah, damn.
uh,
Yeah.
big facts.
Yeah, that's true. Oops. That shouldn't have happened. You're supposed to be locked. um, yeah. So I think we should get into the topic. I know that we kind of did. We gave y'all a little appetizer, a little taste. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Aside from infrastructure phobia and car phobia or car parts phobia. um,
Well, the lack thereof, phobia.
right, yeah. Um, he's the Golden Bachelor if you didn't already have the Golden Bachelor. Like, you.
Ah, God, Rocky, go sit down. If you're not sitting down, go sit down. And if you are sitting down, get up, go to bed. Just leave the stream on. Just go to bed. Just go to bed with the stream on. It's for the algorithm.
Just for the algorithm.
Just
Just
leave
a,
the stream on, but just go to bed.
and I
You be like, all right, peace.
go on the Golden Bachelor. Ron gets Ron gets mistaken for a high schooler like every day.
Yes, yes. It's crazy. It is. Like, true story. Like today, I know, I'm gonna get into the topic, but um, one of the kids who was on our football team this past year, you know, his mom comes in, she says, "Hey," she's like, "So, is he your grandson or is he your son?" I'm like, "He's my son." She's like, "Oh, really?" She said, "So what about the other one that normally comes towards the football game?" It's like, "Well, if he's taller than me, that's also my kid, but a lot of people in his high school, they when they see me walk in with him, they automatically think that I'm his brother." Yeah, yeah.
How does he feel?
We laugh a lot. We laugh a lot, and a lot of times I'm like, you know what? You do realize that I could actually pass as a high school student. He said that's a scary thing. I know you can. He said I know you can, and you could fit right in without any kind of hesitation. Like you could literally fit in. And even some of the staff members at the high school that I know, and some of the newer ones that I don't know, they're like, well, who is this? And when it's like, this is my dad, they kind of look like, yeah, okay, so who is this? Like, no, I'm his dad. Like, I have ID on me. I could get you birth certificate and all the other stuff. Like, yeah. And I'm like, well, how old are you? And then I dropped my age, and they're like, but you don't look like an actual 30-year-old, 35-year-old. You don't look like that. You look younger than that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. Thank you. I will take it in a heartbeat. And again, a lot of the kids,
Got your hat backwards and
I'm
your
telling
and
you,
your and your skateboard. How do you do, fellow kids?
listen, a lot of the kids, even at the elementary school that I work at, a lot of the kids swear up and down I'm in my early 20s. They swear up and down I'm in my early 20s. I'm like,
Oh.
really? Like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Like one kid, I'll ask one kid, like, well, before I tell you my age, how old do you think I look? 23, 24? Really? Yeah. Well, guess what? What? I am 23. I am 24. I am that age.
It's like, why
Really?
not?
Yeah. Really want to lie? Do I really want to lie to these kids? No, I'm 34. You're not that old. Thanks. I get that a lot.
Yeah,
I
and they're
get
at
that more times.
and they're at that age where they think like 34 is old. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, man.
yeah.
I miss those days because
Not
like
even gonna go on.
I remember those days. I'm like, oh, being in your 30s is actually pretty awesome. It's like
Right.
I don't even like really miss my 20s much because like now when I see like 20 something year olds at work, especially like young, like 24, 25, I'm like, it's like, I get y'all. Like, I know where your mind's at. Like, it's not really anywhere. Like, it's like, I get y'all. I get it.
Mm,
Yeah.
it'd be funny too.
Mm-hmm. It is. But yeah, hopefully getting old isn't a phobia. It's somewhat of a phobia of mine sometimes. That's why I'm trying to like prepare things for now so older me or elderly me, I don't know, is in a better position. Like life really is a video game. You just have to, you know, collect your coins, level up, train
Mm,
so you can defeat the bosses in later life, and those bosses are like retirement, being able to afford it, or
mm,
being healthy enough to continue working if that's what you so choose to do, which is fine. Um, I don't really see anything wrong with people working in like their late 60s to 70s because sometimes they just see it as something to do, which I don't.
mm,
Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It just depends on what they're doing. If they're doing like some back-breaking work, then no. If they're just like, I don't know, a cashier at like like a corner store, it's like that's fine. There's nothing really heavy at the corner store. Yeah,
right.
but Yeah. Hey, I didn't know you turned 30 this year, Rocky. Congrats. Welcome to the 30 club. Happy
Mm-hmm.
belated whenever your birthday was.
Nice.
Yeah, congratulations. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, so I did want to, well, I do want to talk about homophobia.
Mm-hmm.
Like as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, usually when you see the term homophobia, it's usually sort of within the same sentence or the same golden 30s. Okay, I'll take it. Usually it's in the same sentence or breath as like sexism, racism, and then we hear homophobia, and that just kind of, you know, that'll kind of like cock your head to the side a little because it's like, like you're on a roll with the isms, and then you throw in a phobia, and then when you think of like everybody knows what phobia means, it's like a fear. It's like scared, and it's like, well, I'm not scared of gay people, so like what does that mean? Like, what shouldn't it be like an ism? Because like when I think of ism, there's people who are like, oh, James isn't racist. He has black friends or he employs black people. And it's like, well, you can have black friends and employ black people and still be racist or, think black people are lesser than or, still have these preconceived notions for whatever reason. So, that's kind of like how I was viewing the term homophobia, but it was still confusing because it's like, why isn't it an ism? Work
Mm-hmm.
until we drop, partially by choice, but mostly by necessity. No, absolutely. Unfortunately, because our country can't get its act together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um. So as of late, like, I've just kind of been, like thinking of like the word, like of homophobia, and one of my really good guy friends, he's bisexual, and he's currently in a serious long-term relationship with a man. And he and I were talking, and I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it kind of dawned on me as to what like like where the phobia comes from and like why the term is homophobia. Cuz like it's I won't lie, like it's bothered me for like so freaking long. It's one of those things where it's like you just say the term, like you just kind of say it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why am I saying this word? Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like it's like what is the fear though? Like it's like it seems more like hatred and anger, and it's like, okay, I get it, but like where exactly is the hatred and anger coming from? And I thought it was like I guess I just didn't understand it because I just always saw it paired with like racism and sexism. But it kind of finally dawned on me where like the phobia is, I guess, the lack of understanding or not knowing, where it's like I don't I guess people are more so confused and also afraid of like, why is this person gay, and how did they become gay? Because if I'm straight, how, like, what happened for them to be gay? And it's like then they might have to question themselves. Am I gay? Like, how do you just know? Like, how do you? And it's like, I guess it's just a level of privilege for us straight folks for just being straight in a society that um I don't know, where I want to, because I don't want to say like rewards being straight, but like compared to gay people, yeah, I guess it would see it as a reward, but where straightness is seen as, just the norm, the okay in society. So that's so like, yeah, sorry, like I'm trying to, so like that's kind of like where my thought process was, and I was like, okay, so I don't know if they're afraid because like they just kind of lucked out and are straight, and they're wondering why, like their cousin, their friend who they played hockey with for 10 years, their coworker whom they worked with for 12 years, or like their brother or their sister or whatever, where it's like, like what, like I guess it's like what happened, like how do they know, where did that even come from, or like what did they see, what, like if somebody hurt, like they just, I guess it's just the lack of understanding, and it's like the fear of like, how can that happen to maybe me or someone that I know, like what can I do to prevent this when it's nothing that can be prevented, I guess is like, so I guess it's more so just like the fear of the unknown, because it's, like there's a lack of like empathy and understanding, I presume. And I agree with, like, I like this comment by Rocky though, like the one I never understood was fat phobia. I've met people who were afraid of gay people. Actually, they were afraid of themselves. But I've never met anyone who was scared of overweight people. That's a good question. That's a good comment. I definitely want to come back to that. What is their possibility of being gay or questioning their sexuality comes from insecurity?
Yeah, you got a point there, Chad.
Yeah. I have heard that like a lot of people who would bully gay people were gay themselves. Like if you were to talk to any gay person, especially a gay man, because being a gay male is a whole different, like, like it's I would say it's seen a whole lot worse than a lesbian, because like a lesbian is kind of considered as like hot, but like still, unfortunately, if you talk to any lesbian, like they still have the issues with men where they don't see lesbians as like an actual couple that's just like, oh, you haven't had the right penis yet. It's like, no, they're just lesbians. Like, they're definitely afraid of themselves being fat and externalize it as anger/hatred. Yeah, that I can see. That I could definitely see. So it's more so like because arachnophobia, is a fear of spiders. But you're not afraid of becoming a spider, like you're not, at least I assume. I don't know, like I don't know if they're gonna like think that if a spider is near them, they're gonna, maybe there might be some who have that fear, but I would argue to say that majority of people with arachnophobia, or like a fear of dogs or something, dog phobia, whatever the heck it's called, probably don't feel like they're going to turn into or become a spider or a dog. It could most likely be from a traumatic event that they tied to spiders or dogs or something like that. But you tend to get more mad at the person who you are most afraid of becoming. You think that's sort of a form of jealousy? You did say insecurity. I guess envy is the correct terminology I learned. So I think jealousy involves three people, like three or more people. Envy just involves two, if I recall correctly. I watched this Brene Brown thing on HBO Max, and she kind of broke down like words and like their actual, real, true meaning. So she had like the definitions of envy and jealousy. I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a difference.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm. But I definitely like this discussion. Like, especially, I want to highlight this with the fat phobia again because
Hmm.
I know that, like, there's definitely people who try to knock somebody down because of their looks, and it makes them kind of shook if they can't, like, knock somebody down with, like, for, like, they're trying to make fun of or belittle like a fat person, but they just can't. So they may feel some
Hmm.
type of way because the fat person is just totally comfortable, like in their body. So maybe that could be it. Maybe that could be where the fear stems from. Kind of like what Chad said. Like they're probably it could be a fear of like looking like that, or it could be a fear of not actually being comfortable with themselves. So they see a fat person, they think maybe like, oh, at least I'm better than them, but I gotta show that I'm better than them, so I gotta point and laugh or you know make them feel like crap so I can feel better.
Right.
Maybe I don't know. Mm, you can't control another person if they become that. So can I? Mm.
I can see that. I can see that because I mean, if we want to go with that, um,
That's what. Unless it's their rifle.
I mean, Rocky, you're not wrong, but also at the same time, you're not right. It's just, hmm. It depends. It depends on how you play the game. It depends on how you play the game.
I mean, chances are these women were already into women. If not, they were bisexual. Or
Yeah.
mm, like that gay dudes are the allies. They give us down low on girls we like. And there's just more girls to date.
Right.
That's funny.
It is.
But yeah, Ron, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna circle back to the fat phobia because
Okay.
that one I really do believe that it is a form of control because it's a form of control because of the fact that again, if you know how a person became obese or overweight and they kind of just let themselves go, then you know,
How to Curb Your Enthusiasm?
mm,
I never seen that one, but that sounds like a funny episode though.
oh yeah. And so, circling back, like knowing that they let themselves go and everything else, that you could be the same way too, not necessarily knowing that there's some people out there they may have a very bad medical issue.
Right.
You never know. And even then, like, you don't necessarily think about stress. You don't necessarily think about all the other factors that cause people to become overweight and obese. Me and the missus, we talk about this subject a lot.
Mm.
And a lot of times, you know, when when we think about somebody that's obese or overweight, they look a certain way. And even still then, you can identify like, oh yeah, that person is obese. We could tell. Or
Mhm.
that person is overweight. Yeah, we could tell. But for most people, my wife included, it's like you look at her, you're like, oh, we don't think she's overweight. We don't think she's, obese and everything else. Until she says something, then it's like, wait, you don't fit that quote unquote typical norm. You don't fit that quote unquote typical body structure of somebody that's obese or overweight. Like, you don't fit that.
Mhm.
And so I look at it like, yeah, it's a way for people to impose control and fear onto somebody else to push you to the furthest extremes, let alone not necessarily knowing that she's probably the most healthiest person that I've ever met.
Mm.
It, I kid you not. Like, we
No.
talked about her blood work. Her blood work come is phenomenal,
Mm.
and it baffles doctors. Like, well, the chart says that you're obese, and everything else says you're obese, but when we do your blood work looks like you're extremely healthy. Why is that? And I'm like, I think you may need to rethink a lot of stuff medically and understand that, you know, you can't use the same old chart that was born 50, 60 years ago to state your claim because that's way outdated.
Yeah, a
And
chart that was
especially with
like based off of like white men, you know?
exactly, exactly. And even then, like, I had an issue when I was going to college, and my my gym teacher, she's like, yeah, in order for you to find your BMI, you got to do this, you got to do that, and the third, and blah blah blah. So I did that, and when I got my body mass index, I kind of had a confused look on my face, and she was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I don't know if I did this right, but can you check it out?" And she said, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." And so she says, and she looked at me, and she looked at my number, she looked at me, she was like, "So let me get this straight." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "So according to your BMI, you're overweight." Yeah, according to my BMI, I'm overweight. And she was like, but you don't look overweight. I'm like, no, I'll tell you what it is. Do I like to eat? Heck yes. I love to eat. Like, you take me to Golden Corral, I will make sure you will get your money's worth. Absolutely. I will make sure you get your money's worth. Absolutely. But at the same time, because of the fact that I tend to be a lot more physically fit and physically active, all the stuff that I ate, it pretty much comes right out of me.
Mhm.
So I'm good. But this body mass index is trash because no. And even then, going to the doctor, my doctor says to pull my blood work, he says, like, you're good. You might want to watch your caffeine intake because you could be borderline hypertension. But as long as, you eat right, drink a lot of water and everything else, you should be good. You should be good. And so she was like, well, I can't give you an answer for her. Like, I think we may need to revisit this chart because this is not right and this is not accurate. Not accurate at all.
I think that's actually pretty good. It's like I mean, that would measure more useful things like, hey, who can fish and gut a fish and scale it and cook it? Who can start a fire out in the middle of the woods?
Right.
Not sure if they're healthy, but they sure as hell are useful. It's like I don't care about your health. Your health,
Exactly.
like I was like, you're healthy to me if you can do that.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, heck, start a garden. Absolutely.
Yeah, like there are some big MMA fighters out there. Yeah, but they got cardio like nobody's business. Should be good, isn't reassuring. Yeah.
I, I'm telling you, I was actually ticked off when my instructor told me that. I'm like, this is not right. This is trash. Like you can't sit up here and tell me based off of something that's outdated that's accurate. Like no, like the closest thing that I could honestly say would be hypertension. Like closest. I've been told that for years. But even still, then because of the way of how I eat, and because, like I said before, because of the fact that I keep myself very active, that curbs that a lot. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and even with me going to the gym and doing my exercises and everything else, like no, like that BMI that needs to go. You probably need to revisit a lot of your parameters and get them bad boys updated because you were probably screwing a lot of people in a bad way because of something that's outdated. And even then, probably not even all that useful. Not anymore. So, this is just there's a lot that goes into this fear, which a lot of it 9 times out of 10 is just a control thing.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a. And the best way to control people is to pretty much scare them into doing something that typically they really don't do or they don't necessarily don't want to do. But because of that fear tactic, they're going to do it anyways because they don't want to be a part of the people that get caught off guard, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I had lost the weight, because like back in 2019, I was like 190, 191 pounds, and then
Mm-hmm.
lost it. Like my lowest was like 155 or so. I'm currently, I think, at like 165. Obviously, because I haven't been working out like I used to, because I was lacking a whole shoulder. Not useless, but
Mm-hmm.
and even though like I still think I look great, I remember when I was like probably like 155 or so or whatever the heck. I was out. I was like at a coffee shop or something and just kind of doing my thing, and I saw a couple who were like, like they were big, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I do not want to ever be like that. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
also think, but like, and I was thinking like, yeah, it's like a crappy thing to think, but it was more so like what I guess like how it was just me projecting, obviously. Like they
Mm-hmm.
could be the happiest people on the planet, living their life. And like usually like before I wouldn't really have these thoughts, but like since I am very, I guess I could say, afraid to go back to weighing that much, I think it's just more so who I was back then as well, and I'm associating that like that from nobody. I was thinking, I can murder everyone in the local market.
Mhm.
We'll be home in time to make dinner.
That's facts. I probably could. I probably could. I probably could and act like nothing happened. How was
Mm-hmm.
your day? You know, went to Walmart, hated there, but it was busy. Busy doing what? Getting my stuff and getting out.
Yeah.
Took out a few people, but who knows?
I don't think I highlighted Gil's comment. Everybody's body's different. Maybe my feet the same as my body's right. Yeah, that is very true.
Hmm. Hmm. That is very true.
Like, are they really though?
Very.
Like, are they really happy? Is that what you're? If you're referring to like my story. Hey, Mish, it's good to see you. And yeah, I'm glad that
Mm,
your emoji showed up. Thank you, Ecamm Live. Is it?
you know, I gotta do my heart. Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah, we almost got it.
nope.
I guess I have to go
Ah,
in closer.
nope, nope, nope. It's me. Hold on. Ah, I can't do it.
You got it. A little bit higher. A little.
There we go.
Yay! That's perfect. I'm
Yay.
like,
We got
yeah.
it.
Yes.
Wow, that was hard.
I know. I felt like it really
That
shouldn't have
was
been.
hard.
This goes love. Love is hard. Love is hard.
Mhm. Yeah.
there, I was like, there are people who survive line who don't stand in a field during a storm. Right, exactly. But yeah, like my. Well, you fixed it. I must spam so many. Yes, please do. Like we. Look at the butt. No, we definitely missed
Now,
them because they are
yes.
so cute, and I do not know why our last one restream just couldn't. Because like in the comments that we can see, it shows the emoji. It shows the I guess emote. Maybe those are a slightly different name. It would show them the icons, but for whatever reason, when you highlighted them, it just couldn't render it, which I thought was very weird.
Mhm.
All around doing the fusion dance.
I'm telling you, my right arm did not feel any pain. Oh my kidding.
Oh man. But yeah, I just wanted to finish up that. It really was like
Mhm.
me projecting that onto the couple because like I never really had those thoughts before. Like, I mean, I would say still to this day, I could have just been in like in a bad mood or thinking whatever
Mhm.
the heck. But I would say like when I'm out somewhere, like I don't know, like I for like pretty much my whole life, I've never really seen. I want to see that fusion. Okay, Chad, tell us how you really feel.
Right?
I would be curious to see this fusion.
Listen, that probably might be the most powered fusion ever known to mankind since Dragon Ball introduced it.
Exactly. You don't know that. You don't know that, Chad.
I'm trying to tell you.
But yeah, like long story short, it was definitely just me projecting because like pretty much my whole life, and even still, like if I see like a bigger person, I'm not really like thinking anything negative or like disgusting or any like
Mhm.
I don't know like this is gonna sound like a no doy kind of moment, but it's like I just see them as like a person. Like if I'm at the grocery store, it's just people here. I'm just here to get my stuff and then leave. Like I don't really care. Like I'm not
Right.
really caring about what you're wearing. I'm not really caring about what you look like. Like unless you're really hot, I'm probably not gonna notice. Like I'm probably not really gonna like pay attention that much. So like and because I also remember when I was younger, and I'm sure even to this day if I were to actually go to the grocery store with my mom. But there were times when teenager, middle school, whatever, I'd go to the grocery store with my mom. She'd drag me, and every time there was like a fat person, she'd always like point them out, and I guess kind of laugh. And I'm like, I just never really saw the humor behind it, because it's just like, it's not like they were doing something funny. It's just they were just shopping. Like they were doing very normal, like, it was never anything that was laugh worthy, so I never understood the joke. This is what you wear unless we're on the same flight. But the plane will still fly, though. But anyway, like, yeah, like, so, like, it was just very what's that, a biplane? Yeah. But yeah, like, I just try not to be like my mom ever, but like, it's weird to have like those negative thoughts when, like, especially when you didn't have them before. But I guess it's because I had lost the weight, and I even noticed that with other people. I've noticed it with myself at times, and I make sure to catch myself. I always like to say that a lot of times when people lose weight, like, it leaves their waist and it goes straight up to their head, and they get like a fat head. And I'm like, it's like, no, I'll stop pretending like, or stop, thinking like you're like this awesome, amazing person. It's like, you're like, you're just like, you're still you, just fit now. Like, like, you know, or fitter. Like, not any better.
I get that.
Yeah, like, so I always gotta like make sure. And I mean, fortunately, I haven't had that thought in a, like, in a very long time, like a negative thought about other people, like, who are bigger, you know. But yeah. Oh, what'd you say, Ron? Oh, yeah, just muted himself. Okay.
I'll be
Okay. Let me take him off. Yeah. I just mean you shouldn't be in your seat and also my seat. That's all. I wonder how people like Shaq. Obviously not literally him, but people like size without money. Yeah. I don't like, to mine, I can't remember if I've seen like a really big person like fly. Like, I can't remember, but it's probably due to some kind of um like, I mean, I guess that's just how it is. Like it's sort of a crappy way to think, though. Like, to realize, like, yeah, I don't think I've ever saw somebody who's like, like portly, who's like big on a plane. Or like, once again, like, since it's something that I just don't really pay attention to, like, I might have just like not noticed, because I just don't really care what people think. I mean, not think, but I don't really care what people look like that much. I'm not really paying attention. Just imagine a tuba player. That kind of reminds me of this one like TikTok video of like this. The son plays the tuba for his mom, who's like a little person, and it's the mom has such a good attitude about it, and but it's just so funny, because like he's like while she's just walking. It's hilarious. I'll share it in the Discord. Mm. But yeah. Okey-doke. Oh, looks like you muted yourself, Ron.
No, but I had to grab my charger to my phone because my phone was kind of going low. But we're good now.
Gotcha.
We good. We're good. But
Yeah.
yeah, going back because I know you kind of touched bases on the the homophobia,
Mm-hmm.
which I've heard of that a lot, and I'm kind of like I was kind of thinking like, okay, so people are scared of people, or you have a fear of people, because I mean, or fear of humans. You want to kind of want to take a technical approach to it. It's like, what about people scares you that they're different, that they may not have the same views as you, that what? Because and again, we were talking about, arachnophobia, the scare of spiders, and I think what's the other one? What, aquaphobia,
I,
scare of water.
possibly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, people have a scare of heights. There's a phobia for that,
Yeah.
and then homophobia is like, well, okay, so you're afraid of humans. That makes no sense. I mean, I can
Oh, because like
understand if
you're
you
thinking of
don't
like Homo sapien. Like,
Homo sapiens.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I'm like, okay, so if you're afraid of humans, but yeah, you interact with them on a daily basis, how is that a phobia? It makes no sense to me. Like the way how you were looking at it, like it makes no sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not agree with their lifestyle? Sure. You may not have to agree, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should throw a blanket, or not even a blanket, a made up name for something that you don't agree with. That's how I look at it.
I guess like the homo part is homosexual. So like, but I see what you're saying, like Homo sapien. So I guess like homosexual is like same, because that's also another terminology for for homos. A homo same. Um, and then sexual, say like same sex. Um, yeah, like I see what you're saying, but it is like it is. I guess it is kind of crazy to be like have a fear, because I guess it's more so just like I guess I still think I just it's like the fear of the unknown, because like you could just be interacting with somebody and it's just like you know like you're interacting with the cashier at a grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
and you may see him at, like every single time you go there, and then it's like a normal interaction, and all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be hanging out with my boyfriend next week, and you're like, what? It's not like it shouldn't change anything, except for some people, like it could change things, for the worse, unfortunately. Yeah, it won't make sense. Sometimes understandable, never reasonable. Good point, Ron. Sometimes English don't be making no sense. That's true.
I'm telling you,
That's true.
like the English language sucks.
It does.
Oh, it sucks. Like,
Like, I don't know
uh,
why this is the language that most people speak in the world. Like we could have picked up another language. Like
hmm I mean, I would say I would be down to learning Spanish again, but then again, that language has changed so much since, let's see, this is 2023. So the last time I was in college was like 2019, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
My Spanish teacher was telling me that the Spanish language council was getting ready to do was getting ready to change their whole language to the point where it will be gender neutral. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, that's going to be a very weird thing to have to unlearn and relearn because for the most part, a lot of the words and terminologies is pretty much geared towards specific genders. And
Mm-hmm.
I get
That's
it.
true.
I get it. But to kind of have everything going gender, I don't know how that would be like. I don't know how that would look like. I don't even know what it would sound like because gender has, especially with Spanish, gender has a huge role, a very much huge role. And so for it to go gender neutral, like I just curious how that would sound, how would that look like? What would it look like? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
I mean, that's pretty incredible that they were really going to just completely revamp. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, like, language is something that is always constantly changing. Like the word bootylicious wasn't in the dictionary, 30 years ago.
No,
But
not at all.
like, thanks to Destiny's Child and Beyonce, they made it a word. So, like, I always think about William Shakespeare, how in his plays there were like such like simpletons, like,
Hmm.
who would go to his plays. They got in for free, but they weren't allowed to sit, so they would stand in the front, which I think was where the term like stands comes from. And they would like literally just be right in front of the stage, having to look up. And they would be so enthralled with Shakespeare, like, with the play and everything, that they would literally drool. They would literally drool onto the stage, which I'm not sure. I have to double check, but I think that's where the term like "don't break a leg" comes from, or like,
Hmm.
or like break a leg or something. I don't know. I could be wrong, but like they would literally drool on the stage, and they would hear new words for the first time in these plays, like to catch cold, bubble, assassination, and they would immediately understand and pick it up, just like we do today.
Hmm.
Like we hear the term bootylicious and we know exactly what that means. And, you could picture it in your head. So, I would presume, I mean, just because I don't speak Spanish, I would presume like that goes on as well, where they just have, probably in songs and art and plays and books, they probably just come up with new words. And, they understand and pick it up immediately. Exactly. Languages evolve on their own. If Spanish changes like 99% of their words, it's not going to be from some council.
I will push back against that. I will push back against that due to the fact that my Spanish during the time my Spanish teacher because because of the fact that English was not necessarily her primary language. It was not. It was
Mm,
Spanish was her primary language. Just learned she learned English as a secondary language.
okay.
And a lot of times, in order for her to keep her Spanish in check, she would fly to Spain and in South America just to keep up with her Spanish. And so when she flew back out to Spain, there was a good friend of hers, and they were talking. They were saying like, yeah, there's a lot of um, representatives from the major Spanish speaking countries that they're coming together to see whether or not they're going to make the Spanish language gender neutral. Mind you, this is about 3, 4 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
they were up in arms because they were saying that if that's going to be the case, then the whole entire language itself, which was pretty much gender dominant, they would have to basically revamp the whole language in itself and make it to the point where if you're speaking Spanish with somebody that you're not going to offend the listener, assuming their gender, and making sure that the words that you're saying doesn't offend them as well. Because again, a lot the language itself is gender based.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, don't be surprised that within the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now, that you're going to see some changes slowly but surely evolving where a lot of your gender terms are not going to be there anymore. And it's going to be replaced with something else. What that something else might be, she's like, we don't know. But just keep a very good close eye on it. And again, they were like, well, they're like, okay, so how's this going to roll out? Like, what is it going to look like? What is it going to sound like? Like, how is it going to change the way how we um
Communicate.
conjugate? Not communicate, conjugate, like break down the verbs and make it more so not necessarily gender based. You know, like habla or habla, Spanish word
Mm.
to speak. How to make that word gender neutral. And they were like, yeah, that's going to take some time
True.
because
Because hablo and habla are two
it's
different words.
they're the same thing. It's just again, hablos more so if you're talking to a man, hablas more so if you're talking to a woman. Gender based.
I
If
thought it
you
was
how are you
like
gonna
I thought it was like yo hablo español, like I speak Spanish, whereas like and then like two hablas is like you speak, and then like I know like habla is like just speak, but it's more like just like um I guess it'd be like habla español is like someone that's like kind of asking, but like then I would respond
Mhm.
even though as a woman too, like yo hablo español. I speak, he, she speaks. Yeah, like um exactly. Thank you. Like habla is like he, she, they speaks. Like oh, like this person speaks Spanish. It's like see,
Mhm.
but yo. So yeah, that's gonna be really complicated because that is. It's like it's the same word, but it's not the same word, and but it's
Mhm.
just weird because if even if you were to say he speaks Spanish, it'd be like I think it'd be like él habla español. I want to be like él hablo. Is it? Um, like I don't know how to say. It's like or like un niño habla español. A boy speaks Spanish. Un niño habla español. I think I don't know if I'm even saying this correctly, but I have Rosetta Stone Spanish on my phone, and I just keep not practicing. um, but it's weird because it's like I think if
Mhm.
you're becoming so obsessed with the O and the A, that's gonna be a whole lot. Like I understand like the L like for like El Biblioteca. Or is it I think it's El
Hmm.
Biblioteca, even though it ends in an A, but it's still considered, I think, El Biblioteca. Like if there's just like a neutral term for the, I think that would be fantastic personally. Because, you know.
Yeah. But again, the thing is when you're speaking Spanish, this is what my Spanish speaker pretty much harped about. And again, just as an example too, she was
Mm,
saying that whenever you're speaking, the verb tense has to match who you're speaking to. It has to match. And for that to be gender neutral, what is that going to look like?
mm-hmm.
Because if you're saying, if you're asking a male, um, does he speak Spanish and whatnot, you're going to have to find a way where you're not going to use any other male, well, how should you call it, the male tenses, participles, whatever they're called. You're going to have to try to figure out how not to use that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what a lot of the heads of these major Spanish speaking countries, that's what they're going to have to debate about. Like, what is that going to look like? How is
Right.
that going to sound like? How are we going to integrate that into this 21st century where, again, it could possibly work? Not saying that it's not going to work. Could it
Mm-hmm.
possibly work? Yes. But you're almost, and again, almost have to reprogram people learning Spanish to go, um, no,
I was like, gracias. I don't know if guapa is a word.
it is. It is. It is. Um,
Oh, it is.
it is. It's a word.
Oh,
It's a word.
I still saying
It's,
gracias.
yeah. Oh my goodness. And again, she was saying it's going to pretty much open up a whole can of worms, depending
Yeah.
upon what they say and how they're going to implement it. Is going to open up a whole can of worms. A whole can of worms.
I do know that Japan has gender neutral like phrases and like words
Mhm.
too, which I think is like, and like there's some words where like okay, like I know like boku wa is like I am, but more so for men. Like watashi wa is like I am or my name is or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, like I am, but it could be like both men and women. You know, like anyone
Mhm.
can say that watashi wa, but like I know that
Mhm.
boku wa is usually for men. You know, that's just one example, but they do have a lot of words that are just very gender neutral.
Right.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how Japan got to that point. Like one thing, like I should try to definitely research like the history of, you know, especially like Eastern countries and Eastern cultures, because I just have a feeling that, you know, they've more than likely been around longer than us. You know, like they're, so it makes me wonder
Mhm.
if like they've just already gone through this. You know, like
Right.
because like if history repeats itself and like nothing's new under the sun, you know, like they probably dealt with this in like the 1700s or something. It's like they're like, yeah, let's okay, yeah, let's just have some gender. We'll just act like typical Americans. If it wasn't a word before, it is now. They gonna learn today. Yeah, I won't lie. That crap. It can be really annoying when because everyone. I think most people are just trying to do the best that they can at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if you're learning something, you're gonna mess up. you know? Like everyone's just
Hmm.
I'd say most people are just trying their best.
Agreed.
Like
Agreed.
one of my favorite comedians is Sam J. She has two specials on HBO, like HBO Max, and she has a TV show on HBO Max called Pause with Sam J. Like she's a lesbian comedian, black lesbian comedian. And one of the things I do love about her is like, she always said that she knew she was black before she was gay, sort of thing, and gay culture always seems to be very rooted in like whiteness and all that. But regardless, like I love her perspective on just people in general because I would say that she's just very like understanding and down to earth. English is a Frankenstein monster of a language. Yeah, like having conjunction words
Agreed.
is or contractions. I don't even know what the heck they're called. Like don't. It's just insanity when you think about it compared to other languages. Yeet. Right. I know. Yeah. Right. Riz. Like that.
Yes, my kids are saying that.
Oh
Like,
my
what
gosh.
is that?
Like,
Like, oh, it's charisma. Like, why don't you just say charisma?
right.
No, it's red.
And they just attach
That don't
Riz to
sound
everything. It's like that's not even charismatic. Like it's just some boy talking to a
yeah.
girl. It's like, oh yeah, it's that Riz. It's like it's just conversation, kids. But okay. But yeah, like long story short, like Sam J had a joke about how, like if you're like a really old person, for example, and you're just living your life, doing the best that you can, but you're just old and then like you, like people just kind of get on you about things because it's like you got money, like you were born at a good time to buy a home or like like whatever the heck, you're just trying to live your life, you're not perfect, and then you come home, you try to watch a football game, and then like your favorite football team like completely changed its name. Like,
Mhm.
it's like, and now you have to call, like, now you can't call them the Redskins. Like what the heck? Like
Right.
like in 2023, that is Riz. Yeah, true. Just having a conversation with the opposite sex. Yeah. Yeah. And Ron, you must have like a front row seat to see how these kids interact with each other. It must be.
These kids are horrible to each other. Oh my gosh. These kids are horrible. And a lot of times I'm sitting here, I'm looking at them like, why? Why do you here's a big one. Okay. If you know you're not supposed to put your hands on somebody, and the moment you put your hands on somebody and they put their hands back on you, you want to cry about it. Like, no. Or you put your hands on somebody knowing that you're not supposed to put your hands on somebody and you've gotten in trouble for putting your hands on somebody and now you get suspended for putting your hands on somebody. What makes you think that wasn't going to happen? Like,
Right.
come on, get real.
I know, right? It's
Get
like
real.
you saw it with that happened to other kids. Like the teachers have told you all this several times, and you just thought it was going to
Hmm.
be different.
Hmm.
Mm,
Even I've warned you numerous of times, like, hey, I'm gonna need you to cool your jets because the moment you do something and it goes against what we've already talked about, you're gonna get in trouble. What ends up happening? Student did something that I told them
mm,
not to do, and they got in trouble. It's like, how come you couldn't have just listened the first time? Would have been a whole lot easier. I promise you, would have been a whole lot easier.
mm-hmm. Yeah, here hears a voice, many
But
would just have care. Yeah. Uh, like. I feel like I don't know if it's the cameras just exacerbated the horribleness because like now if there's a fight they just record it and
Mhm.
they hope like their angles and gets onto World Star or YouTube or whatever gets the most views or whatever the heck.
Yep.
So like instead of like helping the kid out, um, it's I don't know. The cry bully is a tradition as old as the cry bully.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen that too. A lot.
Mm.
I've seen that a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, there are things where I'm like, I had to recheck myself. Like, wait, why am I having a discussion with you in the first place? Like, you're a snot nosed brat. You don't like to play fair. You always want things to go your way. And no, no, I'm not doing that. No, no. And so there were times where playing football, prime example. Like, you don't know how to play the game. Like, really? You sure about that? Yeah, I've been playing longer than you have. Okay, whatever. You just barely got on his earth. Barely got on his earth. By the time like I started playing football, you wasn't even a sperm yet. Like, come on, let's be real. Heaven forbid I say that. Oh man, I would not have a job.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm like, you weren't even out of all the billions and billions and billions, you weren't even part of that billion. You weren't there. So no, no. Like calm down. And even then, like man, if you don't stop your crying and your belly aching and just play, or else I'm gonna shut this whole game down. You can't do that. Oh yes, I can. And I will tell the people involved what happened and why I had to shut it down. Like, please don't test my gangster. Please don't. I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do it in a heartbeat. If I shut one down because they couldn't act right, what makes you think I won't do it to you in your group? Because y'all don't act right for nobody.
Mhm.
Waste more time arguing and crying about stuff than actually trying to learn and play the game the right way. But then again, I go to your football games and I see that you don't play anyway. So yeah, it makes sense.
We have more soul than you have race. How's that? I feel like getting canceled today.
Man, listen. Man, listen. These kids, they just don't know. But then
Yeah.
again, I'm dealing with their parents. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh my goodness. I mean, not to go off topic, but still. Mm-mm. But you know what? To circle back on topic though, um, when you mention hyphen phobias, what's another one that's pretty much like a hot topic button that doesn't necessarily get discussed about?
Mm, so that's a hot top. Yeah.
Facts, Rocky.
Mm.
Facts, Rocky. That's my theme song. Facts, Rocky. Facts.
um, that's a good question. Chat, let us know if you can think of something that like that's another hyphen phobia, another kind of phobia that we may not have mentioned. But I do want to introduce another phobia. You won't be able to see his name because for whatever reason I can't show people's names on this. But But let me see if this works. It should. I don't think I deleted anything. Okay, what the heck? Why is this doing that? That makes no sense. But I have an idea. 1 second. Okay. Where's mine? That's me. You need to get here. And then this phobia.
Wow, that's crazy.
Hold on. What's going on here? So, um, what is up? I'm a little bit disoriented because I had to join on my phone. I mean, technically, I could have been multitasking and joining on my phone, but it not have been a great idea. While driving or um
Mm.
other things that had happened. Um, I just recently got home. Oh wait, I kind of see myself. So I see myself better in the personal window than I do on the actual three panel. It's like really zoomed in. Um,
Yeah,
I,
it's because of like y'all are on your cell phones. Can you maybe turn your cell phone sideways? And that's what it does?
oh,
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but never mind.
interesting. Well, maybe if I had screen rotation on, that might help. Um, if it does the auto rotate, but I'm not sure if the camera will respond.
Hey,
Okay, well, kind of, but
yeah.
I still don't know where I can see myself. Oh, okay, yeah. Now it's just the screen is so big. I think I'm showing up okay, but the screen is like I have to scroll to even see everything. But it's okay. What's up, beautiful people? Um,
Where's my
so
money?
hilarious.
That is
Um,
hilarious.
that's goodness. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is what it is.
But your camera looks great, Toby.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, my personal computer. Oh, I think it's having power issues because I didn't realize it wasn't like charged. It because I don't use this thing. So and it was like when I turned it on. Um, the internet wasn't working. Here's your battery firmware update. Oh boy. Phobias update failed rebooting your system. Yeah, is this thing really gonna get stuck because it doesn't have enough power? Okay, maybe I'll just have to let it charge. But yeah, the computer was like not connected to Wi-Fi for whatever reason. Um, like it just would not show like any connection. So I was like, let me restart it.
Mm-hmm.
Then the only option was to update. So I was like, oh crap, now it's gonna update, and apparently it's doing a whole lot. Um, uh, but it is what it is. I have some. Yeah, I mean, my phone is, I guess, working. I was a little bit traumatized from the one time I attempted to join StreamYard on my phone and I like accidentally closed out of the entire stream because the close button was not where it is on the computer. That was
Yeah,
restream, I think, but
yeah, I remember. It's like it is not isn't not in a well designed place. It was not. That was so bad.
I
Like
was just like, what? But
like
this
you
one though is definitely
like there's no way
no good.
you were there was no way you were the first Toby to do that. Like how that was designed. No way. No way.
Windows 11. No, I'm not gonna upgrade Windows 11. Okay, I guess it did restart. But yeah, I was kind of hearing you talk a little bit. I didn't get to like listen to really like for most of it, but when I was like coming on, I was hearing you talk about. Well, it sounded. Yeah, there's definitely some context that I know I was missing, but Ron, it sounded like you were going in a little bit. You was going in someone's life and then someone rival team's football game. I don't know. I'm not gonna make you repeat everything, but it sounded like it was story time for sure. Um, wow, this computer is doing a lot right now. Um, Yeah, I came up with this name like right now, so I was like phobia, huh? Well, okay.
Yeah,
Gotta use my name.
his name is Tobia Phobia, which is very creative, but I don't know. Cause like if I were to turn on the name tags, like I turned down Ron's, nothing happened. Doesn't even show up anywhere. Is there like an overlay for like no? Because like if I were to put on mine, it'll just show at the very bottom here. So
Interesting.
I have no idea why. I don't know why. I wish I did.
Well,
That's interesting.
play
Let
around with him and figure it out.
Microsoft Teams.
me look. What I can do is see. This is massive. Let me make
Interesting. Wait a
this
second.
smaller.
And I can't even fully see it because I think it's showing my little personal window.
Yeah, why the
Wait,
heck is
can I
this
swap this?
box? Why is this box huge? Anyways, it's not important.
Wait, is it the box that's in my lower left corner? Do you see a box that's in my lower left corner, or?
Yeah, I put that there. But it's like this massive box that I just gave you. Okay.
Yeah, Ron, I think you're also laughing for the reason that I'm trying not to. Oh, that helped me not to be a child right now.
When are you not? Okay.
Ooh. Mm.
I was like, okay, it's fine. No, I don't need to make a reference to the box the first time. But then it just kept happening, and then it was just you just kept saying it, and I was like, you gave me this massive box. I was like, what is going on?
I don't know how people
Is this
who
like a
Yikes.
well? You were saying,
Oh,
but what about people?
huh? I can't
What
remember.
was that? The last thing that you were saying?
Um
get him, Chad. Get him, Chad.
I could do something like this.
Right.
I'll delete yours and then just create a little. There you go.
Now you got a small box.
Yeah, is that better for you?
Well, I can't see it from my angle. Well, I guess a box is a box. I can't complain too much. I'll take what
Eh.
I get. Let me join it here. I think. Oh no, that probably got me the wrong name. Ignore whatever's happening right now. Um,
Okay.
or maybe don't ignore it. But I need to like switch. Whatever. I gave myself the wrong name. Because it just kind of auto completed. Actually, you can put it on. I'm just gonna mute it, and then I guess there'll be two of me. Is that even possible?
I got to. Let's see. Are you okay? There you go.
Hey, we in
Okay.
there.
Okay, I did keep my name. Interesting. Because it didn't look like I said it was a different one. Same page as
Oh
ours.
no, because I actually like manually typed in your name. Like this isn't
Oh, okay. That's
dynamically
funny.
put
Okay.
in.
I was like, that's some real impressive syncing right there.
Right?
Um,
No, but still learning Ecamm, but I think I figured out something.
There you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
One stream at a
And
time.
Yeah.
when I have more time to use my Mac for personal things, which right now I have zero, I've barely been using this Mac. Um, that I just got not last week. It was 2 weeks ago, Wednesday. So yeah, about 2 weeks ago. But I really didn't have much time to do anything with it.
Yeah.
I was doing everything with not my personal computer, but because this is a work Mac,
Mm-hmm.
and I've still been using my old Windows, my Dell. Um, Plus, I had to take off for like a few days, or at least like I was supposed to be getting my car fixed. Today was another day I was supposed to be getting my car fixed. There's been a lot of weird things going on that realm. So now I'm gonna have to go Thursday. But mentally, I slated myself to like get my car fixed today, and low key yesterday. I actually also, um, no, I think yesterday was a proper work day. No, yesterday was a work day, but I think it was like Friday. I don't know. It was just a lot. I was just like, what is happening right now? So, I did not have like the bandwidth or the wherewithal to like fully get the Mac figured out. But eCams Live, of course, is a Mac thing, so it would be
Mm-hmm.
interesting to use it because I'm assuming that you're. I mean, like it's a website, right? Like with StreamYard and with Restream, but
Mm-mm.
it's also a software. So you actually are using the software
Yeah.
and it's streaming to the URL,
Mm, um,
if that made sense.
I guess, yeah. Like I hooked up our accounts to it. But yeah, this will definitely be an offline conversation. But yeah, and of course, Gil would be more than happy to help us out. But yeah, it is a software, and you hand out the guest links, and then. But yeah, you have to like set up literally everything. Like I had to set up our screens,
Mm.
like size them. But it's kind of
That's
cool, like
interesting.
how much customization you can do, and also customization you can do on the fly too. Like how I put in our like name tags. Because I won't lie, the
Yeah,
lack of name tags thing was bothering me because that is part of our brand identity.
agreed.
hmm
Oh, that's
So,
so on brand. No pun intended.
well, pun
That's so
intended.
on
Our
brand.
puns are part of our brand.
Exactly.
Puns
Hey,
are,
come on.
but
Puns are
because just even just using the Mac is just like so much more programmatic. I mean, it's a lot of things I guess are easy to use, but then it's other things are more programmatic, which makes it good for software, in particular programming. But then it's just like hacky, figure this thing out. I mean, Windows is like terrible when it comes to certain things, but then other things are just much easier to install and like open, right? It's very application based. You don't have to touch the code. And then when you have to, that's when it's a nightmare. While with Mac, and I mean, even the eCams Live, I'm not saying that you're programming, but like it's interesting because you're like actually using you're doing more customization and more configuration. And it's just like, huh, like that's interesting, but it's definitely a different use case than like people who just give me the thing that you can go and just go into StreamYard or Restream whatever, and then it's pretty much all there. The banners and everything are preset. You type the name in, but you don't control where things are. So like that's a lot of customization, and it does seem like that's a trend. Granted, it's not a big sample size of like a few things that I've seen where it's just like you have to customize a lot of different things compared to like certain Windows. I mean, obviously, StreamYard and Restreamer websites. It's not like those are specific to Windows, but the fact that the Mac stuff is like there's a bit more customization and in some things, like some people actually prefer that, and maybe it does lead to more creativity in a way. Which is funny because with iPhones, I thought that you couldn't really customize them compared to Android. Um, so it's interesting that some, I guess, applications are more forced to be customized. Like they're less, what's the word? They're less boilerplate. They're less like there's less of a template. Maybe there's less of like a like ready to go. It's like this bare bones thing that you have to start adding to without getting too programming. But there's certain like constructs where you have no framework and you just have to add everything, like when you build certain websites or when you do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the ones that have all of the stuff, but then they're very rigid because they're harder to, change if you do want customization. I don't know. Sometimes I just want the thing to work out the box, but like I said, it definitely. I think when you do get things figured out, it is kind of a beautiful thing, and that's a metaphor for life too.
Yeah.
It can take some time, but it's, I guess, good in the long run to figure out how to build things up the way you want, and not just taking whatever is the default.
Yeah. No, it's true. And also to answer Rocky's question, which we answered in the chat, there is no like totally free version, but there's a free 14-day trial.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I can't wait until you start using this, Toby, because it is like, I don't know, I'm kind of a nerd about these things. So it is like, it is very powerful. Like it's just, like with everything, like you said, it's like there's, a learning curve. So yeah, but like I can see how like the possibilities are kind of endless. However, I'm still open to, and this will definitely something that we, talk more so offline about. But I'm still open to like even finding and looking into other, like streaming platforms. Like I don't know if I told you guys about this one called like EVMux, EVMUX. Like I think that's approximately like $20 a month, and it looks like it does a lot more than like Restream. And it looks like I think you can have up to like, like the person who owns the account plus like 2 more co-hosts. I mean, I saw that from like what the company commented on somebody's post on YouTube, like literally just today. So I don't know how true that is, but it's still worth like checking out just because not everyone can have a Mac, And yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Mhm.
Some Well, yeah. I don't know if you had a transition point. I had like an interesting segue.
Okay.
But I was
Oh,
gonna
shit.
say the oh, interesting. EVMux.
Yeah. How do you
I've
like it,
never
Rocky? Let us know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll have to do more research on that as well. Um and this is, I don't know if this is exactly a phobia, but I know like a challenge that's come is like, getting bogged down. Like there's sometimes where it's like there's so many interesting things. How do you find the thing that you want to focus on? And I guess it is more relevant to my job now that I'm realizing, because I've been having to sell myself and figure things out, and there's like so many opportunities. It's not real. Okay, that's not. It's not like there's a million things and I can't choose. It's more of like I feel like almost a jack of all trades, like a generalist, and people want more of a specialist. And so, like, when I think about, like, oh man, there's all these different things, I could learn this tool and this tool. I mean, this, of course, is not related to work, but it is still something interesting. And you've, Al, said that you've even put some of these type of things on your resume or LinkedIn because there are certain skills that you do learn with producing or with managing like content. Um, but it just kind of made me think like, yeah, man, there's like so much stuff out there, and like it can be easy to sort of get either like disillusioned or dissuaded because you feel like you'll never be an expert enough at these things that you don't know, or you actually dive head first, but then you kind of go too deeply into it where you aren't maybe I don't know if it's too deeply into it. Like you're kind of learning a bunch of different things without focus. And so, yeah, I don't know if there's a real phobia for the term of like. I mean, I'm sure that like
I
the
mean, you could have
general
just
like you
said my
kind of
name,
get.
Toby. You didn't have to like describe it. I'm kidding.
I'm dead. I was like, oops.
It's like not to name names, but I'm kidding.
No, because like it was something that you would always mention. Well, but that was a good thing in general. Like the being able to sort of like create, like, when even if there's something that you enjoy doing more for fun. But that was a little bit more of an aside because I'm not saying like you have this phobia or anything, but just that the when you take on a lot of different things and you have trouble focusing on like the one thing, and so then you kind of don't narrow into like a certain skill set, or you don't become as indispensable. And I guess that could be again, fear is a little bit stronger word, but it's definitely like a challenge with coming, like with dealing with new things. And it's like, well, am I gonna get too lost in this thing? Am I gonna like find different things that are interesting without really like figuring out what is more, I don't know, how do I describe what I'm trying to say? So I feel like there's like different angles to it, but I was just like thinking of how like it is a very relevant thing, and you can I don't know, like you can do a lot of different things. And again, this is very kind of job specific, but you can do a lot of different things without having gotten the deep enough experience where it's like, okay, you're doing a lot of interesting little things here. You kind of touch the software. Maybe you used Photoshop for a week, you used Ecamm for 2 weeks, but then you didn't really have deep enough experience with any of them to like matter. And
Right.
I feel like that's just been like an annoying thing that I'm like, ugh, like it's particularly with the nature of the work that I do, where it's a lot of prototyping and proof of concept. In depending on the what projects you work, you might have a longer kind of year to year skill. But the type of work that I, not just my job, but literally the sector I'm in, or like what they call labs. They used to call them tech centers. So you have like a technical focus that you apply to a lot of different sponsors and a lot of different things. And so even though it's one technical focus, you're doing maybe radically different things. And I just feel like that's always cool, I guess, it's like kind of doing internships forever. I wouldn't say that. That's not really true, because that would have more benefits, because you kind of get the good benefits without having the long term negatives. Here I'm still dealing with the same company, which I'm not going to talk trash about my company. There's actually some pretty good benefits, but like, um, it does feel that like there's always like you're learning something new, then you're not doing it anymore. You learn something, then you're not doing it anymore, and it's just like could be a little bit tiring. Yeah, so phobia, it's maybe it's more of an annoying thing or a concern than like a phobia. But that was just something that I thought of with even like the, not like I'm, oh god, I'm not going to learn keycams because of this. It's like, no, of course I'll learn it, but it just kind of reminds me like there's a lot of things that I'll like use or figure out, then like drop and never use again, and then it's like I can't really claim to have like expertise on this thing because I haven't used it for long enough. But it kind of looks good, but then in reality, it's like, eh. So anyway, I think that's just also just a lot of the. In fact, the thing that I had to do today, like this deadline, I had to send something to someone, was related to me like trying to hone in on what I want to do. Um, like it was a bunch of questions, and I needed to like find answers to them that I haven't found over the last like 5 years of working at this company, and I had like less than a week to figure it out. I was like, okay, I guess I'll answer this. But that's just been like an existential crisis type of thing. So enjoy, I guess, guys, both here in the chat
No,
or the
I get
stream.
what you're saying, Toby. Like, I remember I've said like I've spoken about this with Gil, and I think he did like a podcast episode about working hard in the wrong direction, and how and I still do have like that kind of fear, because at the beginning of the stream I mentioned how I am currently enrolled in like these two online courses, like like Harvard X, and it's like it's by like this edX thing, but it's like I guess it's like a real Harvard college course, or two of them. So I'm I enrolled in web programming. They're free. They're free courses. I enrolled in like the web programming course and the SQL course because for I don't know how long I've always been in like this fork in the road in my career where I can go either in the web programming, web development route, or I can go further into like the um, email marketing route because I'm an email developer, so I use like HTML and CSS. So I'm familiar with like front end web languages, but I don't really go into like the segmentation of emailing, even though I have done that at previous jobs. Just like at this current job, I don't really, segment the list, where it's like, oh, let's just give it to people who signed up in the past 3 days, sort of thing, or something like that. Or let's send it out to people who live in this region. But I've also, at previous jobs too, and even at this job, I've done like web programming and like, use JavaScript and like coding and things like that. Like other, I guess JavaScript's more like object oriented programming. Front end, but I feel like it's just more used for front end, but it can be used to talk to the back end in certain ways. And so I've always just been like right there, and so I'm doing it again. I'm like, all right, let's see what comes sooner to me, like SQL or web programming. Like, I don't have a choice. Like, which one's better for me? At the end of the day, regardless of what happens, I'll probably just end up getting 2 certificates because I do want to finish these courses. Because right now I didn't pay for it, but I can pay for the certificates if I, pass everything. So I'm like, let me just do it before I pay like, the money for the certificates and just, see what happens. So I'm trying to keep myself like on the straight and narrow and doing it. It's like, you just take one class a week pretty much. So it's like, all right, that's not too bad. Or like, yeah, like one course a week. But it's like, I am learning a lot, but it is still kind of like very hard because I don't know if you're familiar with SQL. You're probably more so familiar with Python, right?
I've Yeah, let's just say that SQL is used by the things that I use and not me like writing actual like SQL commands.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Django for doing all of that.
Right. And funny enough, I'm going to be learning Django in my next course for
God
web
bless.
programming. Like SQL, they already gave me some homework and like it's already kicking my butt. And I'm like, what? I'm writing out the commands and I'm getting answers, but these answers are wrong. It's like, what am I doing? Yeah, but it's I do like that kind of stuff though. So like I like the troubleshooting and just keep going back and forth and trying. But it is kind of like yeah. But anyways, yeah, sorry like I know that you were saying something, Toby, but like
Well, no, that's interesting to hear, and I definitely would be curious to hear more about that as well. Like, yeah, and that definitely won't go too deeply into the whole Django mess. And like, I feel like there's a lot of things I would like to learn at a more basic level too. And that was another fear I think was like, because I don't remember exactly what I mean, to be honest, this is all like relevant to the conversation, so this is a good segue. Like the feeling of always feeling underprepared. I mean, there's imposter syndrome specifically for like, oh, I don't know if I should be in this field or in this role. But then there's even just like a kind of like, you know, if you've been through certain trials or had certain shortcomings or shortfalls or gaps, then you do feel like, okay, taking on the next thing, you feel like, wow, I really don't know if I feel prepared or equipped.
mm-hmm.
And a positive side of things recently was I had to start learning JavaScript, which sadly I've never touched or I've never seriously learned. And now I'm like only using very haphazardly. when I find like like needs for dynamic content. So, just for the lay people and everything, static stuff, it just kind of stays there. Like you just have stuff that just kind of is there on the page and it doesn't really move and change. Or files, media, like images, stuff that just kind of stays there. Then the dynamic content, stuff that updates, right? Drop down lists, things that move, buttons, more of the stuff that really will change as you interact with them. And so I haven't really had to do as much of the dynamic stuff, or not really. Usually it'll all be preloaded. Maybe the user hits some buttons, select some different like radio buttons or check boxes, and those aren't inherently dynamic. But I've had to like figure out how to do certain things that are less than, let's just say, things that are not built in that you have to sort of hack. Like making like pop-up boxes. We call those modals. Well, there's different types, but modal, and I'm just like, what the heck is a modal? So I'm just like learning all these things that like maybe should be obvious, but I never really knew. But it was interesting. It actually was more of like the positive side of like I would like to actually learn more like from the ground up. Humble myself a bit and figure out, well, I don't really know certain things in JavaScript. I don't really know certain things. HTML, CSS, which I always dreaded. I was like, I don't want to touch any of this. But now I'm like, I actually do kind of want to learn more about this because, I mean, obviously we all use these things. And it was never a requirement for computer science. That's more of like a information systems track or information technology. Same thing with database design. You don't even have to do that in computer science, which is really sad. But when that is what it is. Like the websites, databases, somehow you can just go 4 years without touching any of that. Probably not good, but here we are. So it's, in some ways it can be like, man, I don't know this stuff, but it's like, this is kind of exciting. Like if I really had time and drive to tackle some of these things, I do think, like I feel like more encouraged to learn some of this. It's like annoying. There's some annoyances and some of the debugging is different because I'm not used to having to like debug the web page and like looking inside of the whatever you call that, like when you right click and you can do inspect element and look at the console.
Right.
That's still like a new thing, and trying to figure out the issue on the code, is it in the website? That's a mess. But I do think there's some fun things in seeing some of the stuff display in real time, like when you see things update in real time and you're like, I created this thing. Cool. And then you have more of an appreciation for actual websites that you use. So I think that could be like a fear, but it can also be motivation to like dive more into the thing you don't know. So I guess that's a way of flipping it.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I don't know. We're figuring it out. Static is static.
Yeah, right. I think, unfortunately, we gotta start wrapping up. It is 11:32 on the East Coast. Yeah, us old heads gotta get to bed. We got work in the morning and bills to pay, either right now or in the very near future. So, what'd you say, Ron?
Children the drop kick.
The knee-high killers.
Yep. Drop kicking the buckle.
Perfect timing. All right, Chad. We love you. Hope you have a great night.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're saying that like Chad's our favorite. We love all of you.
Yeah.
All of you exactly the same amount. Except Mish. We love Mish just a little bit more. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like
especially
not even
because we don't always see Mish as much, and fondness makes the heart grow absent. I already knew as soon as I started I was wrong, but let's just reverse. Fondness makes the heart grow more absent. So Mish.
Sure.
um,
I'm sure
no,
that
no, I said
too.
it. Yeah, I said it wrong again on purpose.
I know.
But yes, thank you all for being here. My
Yes.
apologies that I was not, but I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Love you all. Have a good
Yeah.
night. East Coast, West Coast people, I guess, continue to enjoy the rest of your evening. Unless you're an old man and going to sleep. I don't know, Rocket, maybe.
Let me.
That's wild, Toby.
Where's the
That's
thing?
wild.
Where the heck is that? Oh, let me hide that. Me yawning as I realize y'all are 3 hours ahead of me.
Oh, that's so funny. I didn't even see your comment when I said that.
Yeah.
So I guess you are going to bed too.
Yes. But as always, you can, join our Discord or chat with us in the Discord if y'all are already here. Let me grab the link. Here we go.
The stream is not sponsored by sparkling water, but Canada Dry sparkling slaps.
Ooh.
Hits very differently.
Please join us in the Discord. So you can chat with us, suggest any new topics, or just hang out and lurk. We love you all no matter what y'all do. But thank you all so much for watching, and make sure to catch us next month. Hope you all have a great Halloween. Let me just add that, for that's next Tuesday.
Yes.
Stay
Right in the middle of
safe.
the two streams.
Don't eat any drug-filled candy, even though that has never happened, because drugs are expensive. Why would you just give it to children? It sounds like a waste of money.
Don't find drugs inside of your don't find drugs inside of your trick or treating. Don't find syringes. What are all these myths that we keep hearing about? I
I
don't know.
know. I was just thinking how what is it about these last 3 months where it's just full of myths. Like Halloween with the candy, Thanksgiving with that it was a feast, or I know whatever that is, it's just not accurate of a history. At least I don't think. I don't think Will Smith
Oh,
died. Is this something with Jada?
wait,
Apparently,
what?
I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting. No, I didn't know about any myths. Honestly, I haven't heard much about Halloween even though it's literally in a week. I haven't been hearing the way I have in past years, oh, be careful, blah, blah, blah. I just remember that from years ago. So I'm just like, man, what myths are people coming up with now? That's wild.
Yeah. Well, with Thanksgiving, and I guess with Christmas with Santa. It's what is
Oh,
what
oh,
what are what's it at least the last 3 months where people just believe crap?
oh. I thought you meant the previous 3 months. There have been myths floating around about holidays upcoming, and I was like, I
Oh,
haven't been keeping up in the news about
no.
whatever people have been circulating on WhatsApp or misinformation. But I get what you're saying now. Literally, the
Yeah.
last 3 months of the year are
Yeah.
just a bunch of nonsense,
Right. Yeah. I'm
or at least
okay.
it's based on nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's based on nonsense, but yeah. Just how the mighty have fallen example. I still think he's gonna come back and be fine.
Yeah, what's I have to look. I feel like there was some news, but I can't follow enough what's going on with that.
His wife Jada like released a book, so she's going on book tour and going on podcasts and talking about stuff that's happening in her book. So people are reacting because of certain things that we just didn't know about, and it's apparently they've been separated for the past 7 years. Yeah.
I knew that they were somewhat separate. I won't go deep into this, but I knew they were somewhat separated because of on the red table thing. There was a conversation about how I came out and there was an article where Will, he wasn't as open, but he did talk a little bit about how he wasn't the best husband and how he had to stop always almost overhyping her and putting her on a pedestal because that was something that kind of was causing some different tension. So I remember reading about that some years ago, maybe 2020, 2021 era. that they had been separated. I don't think I knew it was 7 years though, but I knew there was a time where they kind of had like an open marriage, right? Because of that. Um,
Yeah, like they were saying that that was like I've heard that that was a rumor. I heard that I don't know. Like apparently, like Will gave the blessing for Jada Day, August Alsina. I heard all sorts of things. Like I don't know what the heck is true or not, but at the end of the day, it's like, yo, that's their marriage. If they're happy, they're happy. If they're whatever
yeah,
there is that they're doing, that's what they're doing. And who am I to say? I'm not in their relationship. I'm not in their marriage. You
Mhm.
know, so
that'd be
they're
interesting.
yeah, they're
Uh,
figuring it out. I personally kind of like seeing it, not because of the drama, just seeing how it plays out. Because it's like imagine being with somebody who you can like literally kind of just in a way do anything, and like you'll know that they like will love you and support you. It's like it's a weird experiment, but I'm like, I want to see how this plays out, Like just out of sheer curiosity. It's like watching a science experiment. It's like especially like among like a black couple too. Like that's not really like
hmm.
heard of.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna find a link to something that I heard about where it was some couple that had separated or divorced, and someone was dating, and it was like, oh, I think it was actually a Cuomo, not a Cuomo. Who was it? It was some, was it a New York person?
wasn't
Oh,
it
it was Bill
Ariana
De
Grande?
Blasio. It was
Oh,
Bill De Blasio. Apparently Bill De Blasio was seen on some date because he had separated with his wife, and it was like very mutual and amicable, and like I don't even know, like it was a whole thing. And then he was dating, and I just remember it came up on like a political channel, but it was just like, yeah, like, hey, this is like not the worst thing. Like, as long as the kids, I mean, their kids are like adults, I'm pretty sure anyway. So it's like, hey, like,
yeah,
I mean, not like that. There couldn't be any, but it's like it's interesting. Like you said, it's an interesting experiment to kind of have that because I don't think they were like formally divorcing. I feel like they're just separated. So it's like, oh, what does this mean? Okay,
right. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
whole different ball game. Like that's like that is literally just like a totally different thing. It's like when you see the train speeding. Like, I know I should look away, but part of me just yeah. I've definitely
that
been
would be
there. And it's like
something so grotesque that you just can't look away. And I'm not literally saying their marriage, but I remember Pete Buttigieg just said a quote about the Trump presidency. Um, that was pretty early in his campaign, like early 2019. It was actually pretty funny in the town hall. He's like, when you just see something so grotesque and you just can't look away.
right. Yeah, I
And
think I
it's
do
just
remember him
like,
saying something like that. It's like a train wreck.
yeah. But yeah, but what Rocky said, but you could be, that was like something I was thinking in my head of
Yeah,
like,
that was
yeah,
funny.
it's an interesting thing, but I don't know. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure. I'm trying to be that, something so public. I mean, getting in the midst of a celebrity or like a hookup or like you're a side person or like a fling. I don't know. That's a lot. Like,
Mhm.
I'm me, a mere mortal. So next time on the Millennium Council, celebrity crushes and entanglements.
I'm such a
Oh man,
favorite.
that man.
I mean, if Tupac was my best friend and then like he became like this amazing prolific rapper and then died, was shot and killed, I would be pretty obsessed too. Like, I'll be quite honest. Like, you're friends with Tupac? Like, that's insane. That's kind of like who I don't know, like what artists like today would I feel that way if they were just kind of like yeah, if you were like friends with like Nipsey Hussle or something, you know?
Mm, just casually, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look. Tupac Shakur wrote a poem for Jada confessing his love. See, I didn't even know anything. Like, I didn't even know because I mean, there's a bunch of like history from people in the 80s and 90s and all these different eras. Like, I wouldn't know there was some specific like friendship between them. I know like it's come up before it came up, and there was recently some memes going around. that were, let's say, less than kind about why Tupac might have faked his death involving Jada. But I was like, wait, so I was like, when they were really friends. I was like, okay. I didn't at the time. I had no time to look it up. I just saw like a tweet, like not even on Twitter, like it may have been on my Google search or something. And so
Mhm.
I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. But now I'm like, I have to actually look at these people's lives because I don't know who knew who back in the 90s and the 2000s and the whatevers. That's how all of a sudden Jay-Z and Beyonce are married, and I didn't even know they were like he was grooming her. Obviously, I know this now, but like at the time, like let's call it 2014, 13 era. I didn't know I mean, not that I didn't know who they were, but I didn't know like history like that in terms of like music history and like celebrity history. And I feel like that's a whole nother thing. But like, it's kind of interesting to see. It's like, oh, these people are really tight. Like they were just chilling. Like they knew each other. Like this famous person knew this famous person even before they were like famous in their own ways, right? It wasn't
Mhm.
like they met at the Met Gala or at the whatever. It was like no, they kind of were doing their own thing and they happened to know each other. Like that's really interesting, actually. Um, so I just wouldn't have known that as the lore of like I guess black actors and music or whatever. Like however people happen to know these things, I just wasn't in the loop. um,
Yeah, because how old
and I
was
find something interesting.
yeah how old was Beyonce when Jay Z met? Like they started dating. Beyonce was like either 19 or 21. Do you remember she was very young?
Hmm.
Can't remember how much older he is. He was born in 1969.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
So
there's a nice size gap.
yeah.
There's a
So, yeah,
nice size.
that's pushing towards like my dad. I mean, he's not as old as my dad, but like same decade.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like you never know how anything would play out if it was like different. It's
Mm.
like maybe their relationship worked out for the better. I don't know. Like, I guess I just never really thought about it. I never like sat there and like thought about it. But it's uh, like, because I do remember, especially, I mean, I guarantee you still happens today. I don't see why not, but I know that celebrities would get together on purpose to like boost their like PR or like their fame and things like that. Like it was all just like it was just like a publicity stunt.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Uh oh. Now hold on.
Fire alone, dirty.
I mean, they must be very prolific. I'll say that much. They have to
Yeah,
be.
that's kind of interesting. Um, something you just said about something you just said, Al. I wish I could remember. I literally like I'm
Like what
blanking on
was
what the
um was it like about Beyonce?
yeah, possibly. Oh yeah, because you were saying you don't know how things are unless until you know. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure what the thought in my brain would is going to be about that conversation, but
Like you never know how it would have just like played out, like it's like did it because like you just never really know. It's like did he actually groom her? Was it just an actual like
mm,
legitimate relationship? Was it like a publicity stunt? It's like you just never know. Like because it could be all of those things. It could also be like none of those things. I think the Taylor Swift Travis Kelsey thing is definitely a publicity stunt. That's just yeah, because apparently Taylor Swift is helping, I guess, people watch football again or get more people into football. I hear.
oh, so the NFL, right? Because there's been a whole political seismic shift with a lot of things, with
Right.
different sports, especially the NFL and the players kneeling, and now with like I don't even know. Like I just feel like there's been so many things that have happened, but I think that was actually what it was the publicity stunt. Camila Cabello and Sean Mendez when they kind of had Senorita. Um, and there was like dating, like there were pictures of them like holding hands on the beach or like getting close, and a bunch of like comments I was seeing because I don't know if this was Instagram or if it was Twitter, but the people were like, "This is like clearly a PR stunt." And I mean, of course I know what that is, but I wasn't like I couldn't in my head think, oh yeah, there are obvious PR stunts because I feel like if there was something, it would have been in the past. But this was something that I saw like in real time. Maybe this was around 20. What year was Senorita? 27, maybe 2018. Um, and so I was just like, okay, PR stunt. I mean, and it probably was. Like I never like looked up later to confirm if they actually had dated or if all those pictures were just for PR. But that's kind of interesting. Now I'm curious to like look it up and be like, what are popular PR stunts in terms of dating that have happened? Of course, you
Mm,
have like feuds, right? You have like maybe rap feuds or certain things that may have been more like internet feuds. Let's call it like maybe some because I mean, I think there are some real diss track and feuds that were like legitimate, but there are definitely things that were meant to be more of like this is really just like a way to boost us, a way to
true.
boost the two of us and cause like a thing with their fan bases, or this is just a way to like have like with the internet, right? Like I remember there's an episode of iCarly where Fred, and I didn't really know who Fred was, but I guess he was a really popular YouTuber with the high pitched voice and the fast everything. And like Fred had made some terrible video about iCarly, but at some point it was revealed, oh, actually, I just did it to like cause buzz between the two of us. And so then they had like a joint video at the end of the episode. Um, and it's like, okay, yeah, that could actually happen. But I didn't follow web shows enough to really know like PewDiePie or any of these people to really know what beef was happening. Like Jake Paul does a bunch of crazy wild things, but like, is he just a troll? Like, I think he's just a troll. I don't think people are like purposefully feuding with him. um,
Right.
but anyways,
I mean, that is actually like really interesting to kind of think about. Like, like, because this is just something that's just been happening since who knows when, like publicity stunts and all that. But that is definitely uh, a conversation for another time, unfortunately. Because,
Yes.
to the idea sheets and
yeah,
idea feedback channel.
yeah,
Like,
I agree with this too. Like, we definitely should talk about this in the Discord though, and ideas and feedback channel, or just in general, like what we think are publicity stunts. I definitely do think that's a Jonathan Majors and Megan Good. Like, yeah, because it was just like weird timing. Like I don't know. Like, because it was probably like, oh, we got to get him with a black woman or something, and then
that's interesting.
but yeah, that's a conversation for another time. But yes, once again, thank you all so much for watching. Um, we'll see you. I think it's November 7th. Will be our next live stream.
Yeah.
Definitely. In the meantime, join us on the Discord and yeah, let us know of any sort of topics you want us to talk about. But next month will be a new topic, and it's going to be a great one. So,
Oh yeah.
as always, y'all
Always.
have a great night, and
Yes.
we'll see you next time. All right.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.